Get ready, everyone, because the news cycle is absolutely wild right now, and we've got some unmissable updates that you need to know. The pace is relentless, the stories are dropping fast, and if you blink, you might just miss the biggest developments. Today, we're diving deep into a darkly hilarious new comedy that's got everyone talking, a film that's being called a sharp, modern take on a classic story. We're also breaking down the latest critical reactions, dissecting what makes this movie tick, and exploring the deeper themes that are resonating with audiences. Plus, we've got a special look at how this film is being perceived by the critics and what it means for the future of the genre. Stick around because you won't want to miss a single second of this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're always in the loop with Tom's Spotlight. A devilishly hilarious dark comedy about love and marriage. Prepare for a cinematic experience that masterfully blends biting wit with profound emotional depth. Director Jay Roach, known for his iconic work on the Austin Powers franchise and Meet the Parents, makes a triumphant return to comedy with The Roses, a contemporary reimagining of Warren Adler's acclaimed 1981 novel. This adaptation breathes new life into the story, previously immortalized by Danny DeVito's The War of the Roses, starring Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. The Roses features a stellar cast, with Benedict Cumberbatch as Theo and Olivia Colman as Ivy, portraying a British couple whose whirlwind romance, ignited in a London kitchen, blossoms into a life in Northern California with their two children, Hattie and Roy. Initially, Theo and Ivy share a picture-perfect union, characterized by mutual support and shared dreams. Theo, a brilliant architect, is on the cusp of realizing his vision for a prestigious nautical museum in San Francisco. Meanwhile, Ivy nurtures her charming, albeit niche, seaside seafood restaurant, We've Got Crabs. Her culinary prowess is undeniable, evident in the delectable meals she prepares for her family. Their dynamic is one of playful banter and genuine affection, creating a seemingly idyllic family life. Even minor disagreements, such as their differing approaches to their children's sugar intake, are resolved with open communication and a reaffirmation of their love. A poignant moment illustrating their deep bond occurs when Ivy, despite a raspberry allergy, indulges in a pastry to savor its flavor, prompting an immediate, life-saving response from Theo with an epinephrine shot, a testament to their profound connection. However, the narrative takes a dramatic turn as external forces begin to unravel their seemingly unbreakable bond. A devastating thunderstorm not only destroys Theo's meticulously crafted museum due to a critical miscalculation and his own pride, but also leads to an embarrassing public incident that derails his career. Simultaneously, Ivy's humble seafood spot experiences an unexpected surge in popularity after a food critic seeks refuge from the storm, leading to rave reviews and a burgeoning restaurant franchise. This dramatic shift thrusts Ivy into the role of the primary breadwinner, leaving Theo to assume the responsibilities of a stay-at-home father. Initially supportive, Theo finds himself grappling with his own stalled ambitions and the shift in their domestic dynamic. While he dedicates himself to his children's fitness, Ivy's desire for them to enjoy life's simple pleasures, like her desserts, creates a subtle friction. The screenplay, penned by Tony McNamara, known for his sharp dialogue in The Favorite and The Great, expertly navigates the evolving relationship. The witty exchanges between Cumberbatch and Colman transition from charming banter to increasingly venomous barbs as their marriage deteriorates. Their journey through therapy fails to mend the growing chasm, escalating their conflict into a brutal war of words and actions. The performances are a tour de force, with Cumberbatch delivering a comedic brilliance and Colman exuding a sharp, nuanced portrayal of a woman at odds with her marital reality. The supporting cast, including Andy Samberg and Kate McKinnon as Theo's friends, add layers of comedic dysfunction, further highlighting the complexities of modern relationships. The Roses stands out as a mature, intelligent comedy for adults, offering a refreshing perspective on long-term relationships amidst a cinematic landscape often dominated by genre hybrids. It's a film that resonates with the realities of married life, making it a must-see for anyone who appreciates sharp writing, brilliant acting, and a story that is both hilarious and deeply poignant. Audience impact. Critics are praising the film for its sharp writing and the exceptional chemistry between Cumberbatch and Colman, noting that the film balances humor with genuine emotional stakes, making it a relatable and thought-provoking experience for couples. Prepare for a deep dive into the critical reception of this film. Next, we'll explore another perspective on The Roses and what makes it stand out. Irreconcilable differences. In a landscape where relationship dynamics have evolved significantly since Warren Adler penned The War of the Roses over 4 decades ago, Jay Roach's The Roses emerges as a timely and relevant adaptation. Penned by Tony McNamara, the film aims to capture the complexities of modern partnerships, offering a fresh perspective on the classic narrative. The film introduces us to Barry, an aging millennial lawyer, and his wife Amy, a hilariously eccentric and self-proclaimed empath. Their journey through the traditional milestones of a relationship, from high-powered careers to sophisticated dinner parties, reveals a growing disillusionment with the conventional markers of marital success, suggesting that forging their own unconventional path is where their true happiness lies. However, the narrative's primary focus shifts to Theo, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Ivy Rose, Olivia Colman. While their performances are committed and compelling, the film's exploration of their relationship, unfortunately, falls short of the brutal, scathing portrayal found in Adler's original novel and Danny DeVito's 1989 film adaptation. The Roses does, however, introduce an interesting inversion of the traditional power dynamic. Ivy ascends to the status of a successful restaurateur, just as Theo's architectural career faces a dramatic downfall, compelling him to embrace the role of a stay-at-home father. Theo's awareness of this shift in gender-power balance and his resulting resentment are palpable, though arguably underexplored, lending a sense of authenticity to his emotional state. The question remains whether this resentment is potent enough to drive the film's more extreme narrative turns. The chemistry between Cumberbatch and Colman is undeniable in the film's more tender and innocently humorous moments. Their interactions are infused with a subtle wickedness that hints at the initial spark of their romance, and this same underlying tension translates effectively into the film's comedic elements. McNamara's script provides both actors with ample opportunity to deliver deliciously wicked lines, showcasing their talent for sharp, incisive dialogue. Yet, when contrasted with the infamously brutal and dark comedic terror of The War of the Roses, both the book and the DeVito film, The Roses appears considerably more subdued. The original film's potent depiction of Barbara Rose's disillusionment with the American dream and her struggle against societal expectations for women resonates as a powerful commentary, a sentiment echoed more recently in films like Gone Girl. The Roses presents a compelling opportunity to delve into the intricacies of a relationship where traditional masculinity is challenged, and a successful woman refuses to compromise her ambitions for her partner. However, the script's insights, while present, are ultimately too superficial to fully justify the bleak trajectory of the third act. For Theo's resentment to be truly believable as a catalyst for extreme actions, his masculinity would need to be portrayed as more toxic much earlier in the narrative, and Ivy's ambition, or girlbossiness, would need to be depicted as more directly contributing to the erosion of their emotional connection. As it stands, the film doesn't quite establish the characters as capable of the extreme physical or emotional damage that the plot seems to imply. While The Roses successfully conveys the reality of the characters' resentments, it struggles to make those resentments feel substantial enough to warrant the film's darker conclusions. Audience impact. While some critics appreciate the modern take on relationship dynamics, others feel the film doesn't fully capture the raw intensity of its source material, leading to a divided critical reception. We've heard some critical takes, but what's the broader consensus? Next, we'll look at how critics are specifically dissecting the film's comedic elements and overall structure. Critics prick The Roses, calling it a stale and overcrowded remake. Remakes, much like marriages, possess the potential for both beautiful unions and toxic entanglements. Jay Roach's The Roses, a fresh take on Danny DeVito's 1989 film and Warren Adler's foundational novel, appears to occupy a space somewhere in between these extremes. As critics begin to weigh in, the film, starring the immensely talented Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman, is receiving a mixed reception, with many acknowledging the actor's typically strong performances, while noting that they can't entirely salvage a project that some find lacking. David Rooney of The Hollywood Reporter highlights the captivating dynamic between Cumberbatch and Colman, stating, "You couldn't ask for a more skilled demonstration of how it should be done than the deliciously withering repartee lobbed back and forth by Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman as Theo and Ivy Rose, whose union spirals from bliss into mutual destruction in this dark comedy about marital collapse. The lead actor's combative chemistry is what keeps Jay Roach's overcrowded remake zingy even when it threatens to turn from savage to sour." This sentiment suggests that while the core performances are a major draw, the film itself may struggle with its overall execution. However, not all critics are as forgiving. Nick Shager of the Daily Beast offers a more critical view, remarking, "These gags are so stale you can practically smell them, and the Rose's rancorous repartee isn't better." He elaborates that despite the actor's suitability for the conflict, the headliners are undone by material that lacks cleverness, resorting to lame bits involving setting things on fire, food fights, and 2 separate bouts of puking. This critique points to a potential over-reliance on predictable comedic tropes that fail to elevate the material. The unevenness extends to the supporting cast, with William Bibiani of The Wrap singling out Kate McKinnon's performance as a mismatch for the film's tone. Bibiani observes, "Everyone else is in a sharp, dark comedy. McKinnon is in a Saturday Night Live sketch, and not one of the good ones." It's as though Jay Roach was afraid his movie was too smart or subtle, and told McKinnon to ham it up, for fear that crass American audiences wouldn't understand The Roses was a comedy unless someone got hit by a banana cream pie. This suggests a directorial choice that may have misjudged the film's audience or its own comedic sensibilities. Across various reviews, a common thread is the sense of untapped potential. Critics like Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian express a yearning for a version of the film that fully realizes its premise. Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch, the 2 most prestigious English screen actors in the world, resoundingly butt heads in this feel-bad movie. It is oddly, but not uninterestingly, composed throughout in feel-good rom-com style. In casting terms, this is a Borgmach and Rowe 10 set tiebreak, leading to play being suspended even as the leads bring every microliter of their technique to the game. Bradshaw notes the film's high gloss and sheen, which creates a diverting disconnect, but ultimately feels it, flinches from the recognizable, tragicomic reality of a bad marriage. These critical opinions are reflected in the film's aggregate scores, with a middling 63% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 59% mixed average score on Metacritic. This indicates that while The Roses has its merits, particularly in its lead performances and the potential for sharp dialogue, it ultimately struggles to coalesce into a universally acclaimed cinematic achievement. Audience impact. Critical consensus points to strong lead performances, but notes that the film's material and some supporting elements don't quite live up to the actor's potential, resulting in a mixed reception. We've seen how critics are reacting to the film's tone and structure. Now, let's dive into what makes this particular story so compelling and terrifying at its core. A perfectly terrifying takedown of love. The opening scene of The Roses immediately sets a peculiar tone, with 2 young children engaged in intense physical training, chanting, "The work goes on." This is overseen by their father, Theo Rose Benedict Cumberbatch, who watches with a manic grin, stopwatch in hand. The peculiarity stems not just from the children's sudden shift from devouring sugary treats, provided by their chef mother Ivy Rose, Olivia Colman, to rigorous exercise, but from the underlying commentary on addiction substitution, the fleeting passions of youth, or even a national health epidemic. Instead, these children serve as poignant symbols, representing the shifting dynamics within their parents' marriage. They are manifestations of how a couple constantly measures each other, even when attempting to mask it. Ivy's accusation, "You stole my children from me," delivered later in the film, encapsulates the core conflict. While ostensibly a dark comedy about marital collapse, this statement, even Ivy acknowledges its disingenuousness. Theo's theft involves guiding their children away from Ivy's endless supply of confections, which symbolize not just her love but her perceived ownership of their developing identities, towards a healthier lifestyle. This newfound focus on fitness excludes Ivy, preventing her from participating or seeing herself reflected in her children's activities. These are, perhaps, the first honest words Ivy has spoken to Theo in a long time, highlighting the deep-seated resentments that have festered. Theo, too, has his own share of blame. Once a sought-after architect, he was content with Ivy remaining a stay-at-home mother for over a decade. However, when their roles reversed due to his career implosion and her unexpected success with We've Got Crabs, he found himself unable to cope. His realization that he wasn't as altruistic as he believed, coupled with his public professional failure, led to a bitter internal struggle. He confesses to Ivy, "I do need it," admitting tearfully that he needs her not as a partner, but as a human sponge, someone to prop him up, reflecting his view that passionate love is merely the scaffolding for the essential elements of marriage: comfort, consolation, and uncritical commiseration. This unearthing of dark, almost hopeless motivations at the heart of marriage, while simultaneously evoking laughter, is one of the Rose's most striking achievements. Cumberbatch and Colman deliver scathing, withering critiques of each other that elicit giggles from themselves and expressions of horror from their therapist. The film boldly reveals the truth of their struggling marriage to their children, who respond with congratulatory smiles and encouragement to separate. A particularly chaotic dinner party scene showcases couples engaging in escalating verbal warfare, with one couple attempting to make their partner cry, while another exchanges jokes about each other's physical frailties. The Roses is a deeply funny film, significantly lighter than its somber source material. Yet, beneath the jokes and puns lies a profound exploration of why individuals risk marriage in an era of soaring divorce rates. The film posits that while solitude might be daunting, the fear of being alone drives people to endure moments of blinding hatred, a sentiment both Theo and Ivy openly acknowledge. They simply choose to ignore it, recognizing that no relationship is perfect. Instead, they learn from other couples, like Barry, Andy Samberg, and his hypersexual wife Amy, Kate McKinnon, that relationships are characterized by varying degrees of resentment. This theme of love curdled into hatred is not new to cinema, with films like The Squid and the Whale, Marriage Story, Kramer vs. Kramer, and the original The War of the Roses having explored similar territory. However, The Roses offers a more hopeful, albeit still pessimistic, perspective. Unlike previous narratives that focused on holding on or letting go, this film suggests that in a world perceived as terrifying, embracing the pain, misery, and occasional bloodshed of love is still a better alternative than facing the cold reality of being alone. The film's adaptation of the original story, where Theo designed the house he desperately wants to keep and Ivy's success pulls her away from her family, is more balanced, with neither character positioned as the sole antagonist. Both Theo and Ivy desire to hold on to each other, yet both acknowledge the inherent difficulties of maintaining a marriage. Audience impact. The film resonates with audiences by presenting a relatable, albeit dark, look at marital struggles, highlighting the common human desire for connection even amidst profound conflict. We've explored the film's thematic depth and its connection to broader cultural narratives. Now, let's get a definitive verdict on its overall success and what the future might hold for films of this nature. Get ready for a lightning-fast recap of today's top stories. We dove into The Roses, a darkly hilarious comedy that's getting rave reviews for its sharp writing and incredible performances from Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman. We explored the critical reception, with some calling it a brilliant update and others finding it a bit uneven, but everyone agrees on the electric chemistry between the leads. The film is praised for its mature take on love and marriage, offering a relatable, albeit intense, look at relationship dynamics. Don't miss out on this cinematic gem. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to Tom Spotlight for more in-depth coverage, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and follow us on all our social media channels for behind-the-scenes content and more. Thanks for watching.